So it says the perimeter of the square below is 36. What is the length of the diagonal? So in a square, all the sides are the same length. So if the perimeter is 36, you can divide that by 4 and get the length of each side. So each side is 9. And then for the diagonal, in a square, this diagonal bisects the angle. So for a 90-degree angle, that would be 45 degrees here. And this is also 45 degrees. So are the other ones, but you'll see where I'm getting at in a second. So that makes this a special right triangle. And this is on the reference sheet. For a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, you can take the side length and multiply by square root of 2. So you can take this 9, multiply by square root of 2, and get this length here. So that is our answer. You could also use Pythagorean theorem there. You might have been thinking that as well. That would work. And it would give you the answer. It would just give you the answer in like a decimal format where you'd have to maybe calculate this to see if it matched that. 23. Triangle JKL is translated 4 units to the left and 5 units up. What are the coordinates of the image of point J? So here, J, 4 units to the left, 5 units up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 units up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and J prime would be right here. And that is at -6. It doesn't quite fit on the graph, but we can figure it out. 6, and that is our new points. Next. Okay, 2 parallel lines are cut by a transversal. So measure of angle 2 is 2x plus 7, and measure of angle 7 is 3x minus 13. It wants to know the measure of angle 7. So we need to find the value of x first. These are alternate exterior angles, and alternate exterior angles are equal to each other. So we can set these equal to solve for x. So 2x plus 7 equals 3x minus 13. We can solve for x. 20 equals x. But it doesn't ask for x. It asks for the measure of angle 7. So now I need to plug this into this. So 3 times 20 minus 13 is 47. Okay, the next one, it says the following information is known about quadrilateral ABCD. It gives us 3 facts about it. Which must be true? Is it a rhombus, a rectangle, a trapezoid, or a parallelogram? Well, it says that BC is parallel to AD. It says A, B, and CD are not congruent, which I have here, so they're not the same length. And then CDA is a right angle. Well, not a rhombus. Rhombus, all the sides would be the same length, so nope. Rectangle would have 90-degree angles everywhere, and opposite sides would be equal, so not a rectangle. Looks like a trapezoid to me. And then parallelogram would look like this, and again, opposite angles would be parallel and congruent, so that didn't happen here, so not a parallelogram. 26. How much paper is needed to cover a rectangular bulletin board that's 29 inches wide, 37 inches high? Well, rectangular bulletin board, 29 inches wide and 37 inches high. We need the area. Area of a rectangle is just length times width. So 29 times 37 equals 1,073 inches squared. Okay, and when you're ready, flip to the next page. It says what piece you're missing, you can get it. Okay, 27. A scale drawing of the side of a house is shown below. What is the best estimate for the area of the side of the house? So this scale, like a smaller version. it shows that each square is 36 square feet. So we're going to find the area of this like smaller version and then multiply it by this. So for this, I'm going to break it up into two pieces so I can find the area of each part. So I got a rectangle and a triangle. Rectangle, to find the area of a rectangle, is just length times width. So the area of this rectangle is 20. And then I need to find the area of this triangle. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. The base here is 5 units. And the height of the triangle is 3 units. So 1/2 base is 5, height is 3. Area of the triangle is 7.5. So 7.5 is the area of this. And I like to just put the area in a circle on each part because at the end I can just add up the circles to get the total area. So that's what I'm going to do here. 20 plus 7.5 is 27.5 for the total area. And then I need to multiply by 36 square feet per little square. So 27.5 times 36, and that equals 990 feet squared. It asks for the estimate, so you'll notice that this is not exactly over here, but I'm going to choose the closest one. Okay. Next. 28, the arrow above represents the needle on a compass. The needle is rotated 180 degrees clockwise. What are the coordinates of A after the rotation? So 180 degrees would be like 2 turns on the coordinate plane, putting it over here. So this arrow would be like down here, and then like this right here. It asks about point A, which is right here. And so when I rotate that around, it would be right here. Like if I rotated it, it would land right there. The coordinates of this, there's different ways you can do it. One way is to use the coordinate rules. So for each rotation, remember this is just a sample, so I'm going to have you write down the rules for any type of rotation. 90 degrees counterclockwise or 270 degrees clockwise. The rule would be x, y becomes negative yx. 180 degrees either counterclockwise or clockwise, because whether you go around this way or this way, it'll land in the same spot. Xy becomes negative x, negative y. And then for 270 degrees counterclockwise, which would be 90 degrees clockwise, xy becomes y, negative x. The reason why I put counterclockwise first is a positive rotation is actually counterclockwise to the left. This one just says clockwise, which is backwards. Okay, so it wants 180 degrees, so A, which is 6/8, becomes A prime, negative x, negative y, so -6, -8 is our answer. So yes, you'd have to memorize these. These aren't on the reference sheet, but you can also use the concept to kind of figure this out too. For example, 180 degree rotation through the origin. You should be able to use a straight line for 180. I know I'm covering up the work. But if you use a straight line for 180 degrees and go through the origin, you can like connect the dots to your new point like that. Or you'll have a reference piece of paper. As long as that paper is cut correctly, you have a 90-degree angle with your paper. So if it was a 90 degrees clockwise rotation, you could, can you stop talking? If it was a 90-degree rotation, you could use the corner of your paper to make a 90-degree angle, and that's where your point should land, and it should be the same distance from the origin. So like again, you could take your paper, use it to measure, like mark how long that segment is, and then figure out where the new point is using that. So you can use the tools and the concepts as well if needed. Next. Okay. I'll go back if you missed it. Okay, in this situation, there's an old refrigerator right here, and they get a new refrigerator. The new refrigerator has the same length and width, but it's 8 inches taller. They want to know the difference in cubic inches of space between the old and the new. So old refrigerator and the new one. It's a rectangular prism, so volume equals length times width times height for both. The old one, the dimensions 30 times 36 times 62. And then the new one, the length and width here are the same, 30 times 36. And then the height, it's 8 inches taller. So 62 plus 8 would equal 70. Then in a calculator, you'd multiply these three numbers and you get 66960 inches cubed. And then multiply these three, you get 75,600 inches cubed. To find the difference, you'd subtract those. And you get 8640 inches cubed. Here's the difference. Oh, Kyle, here's your copy. Next one. The cereal box is these dimensions. What is the volume of the cereal box? A cereal box, rectangular prism, length times width times height. 10.4 times 7.4 times 2.3. The volume equals 177.008 C. I'll go over at the end. 30. 31. John measured the sides of 4 triangles. He measured the side lengths of one triangle incorrectly. Which triangle was measured incorrectly? In order for the 3 measurements to make a triangle, the 2 shortest sides added together, so like A plus B, has to be greater than the longest side. Because if they add it together, they don't make that length, they'll never reach, and it can't even make a triangle. So that's what we're looking for here. So 11 plus 15, and yes, I'm going upside down. 11 plus 15, that's bigger than 24, so that makes a triangle. 1 plus 18, 19, that's bigger than 18, that makes a triangle. 8 plus 9, 19 is bigger than 10. But 6 plus 6 is 12, and that's not bigger than 15, so these two sides wouldn't even reach. So this is the one that is not a triangle, that he measured incorrectly. And we're going to flip to number 32. Okay. 32, we have a circle here. Mari created the circular window represented below. She knew that 1 and 2 are supplementary. Okay, angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. And that 1 equals angle 3. Because they're vertical angles, what must be true about 2 and 3? Well, 2 and 3 must be supplementary. They form a linear pair. And also you could plug in 3 for 1, and 2 plus 3 must equal 180. So, C. Next, 33. A company is planning to sell juice boxes represented by this figure below. What is the total surface area of the box? So it is a rectangular prism, so you can look at your reference sheet. Prism, surface area right here. I'm going to write this down. Surface area of this prism, 2 times area of the base plus perimeter times the height. The area of this base would just be 10 times 5 for the rectangle at the bottom. And then what it means by perimeter is like the perimeter all around the shape, like this. So it'd be 10, 5, 10, 5, like adding this up. So 10 plus 5 plus 10 plus 5. And then the height of the prism is 11. So the surface area is 2 times 50 plus 30 times 11. Surface area is 430 centimeters squared. C. And 34 is next. Okay, 34. Equation of a circle, which represents this equation. So in an equation of a circle, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. This equation not on the reference sheet, so you do have to have it memorized. HK is the center, and then r is the radius. So in this equation, remember the subtraction symbol is part of the equation, so it's actually opposite sign for your x and y coordinate. So this would be -2, -3 for the center, and then for the radius, square root of 4, which equals 2. So I'm looking for the circle with a center, -2, -3, and a radius of 2. So -2, -3, not this one. -2, -3, nope. This one right here, C. -2, -3. It's on the circle, but it's not the center. Nope. -2, -3. There's the center. And then a radius of 2. Yes, so the answer is D. Thank you. Next. Okay, Joe's garden is the shape of a hexagon. The measure of the 5 angles are this. What is the measure of the remaining angle? Okay, hexagon. Drawn out a hexagon as best I can. 6-sided shape. So we got 160 degrees, 90, 60, 160, 80. We need to find the last angle. For a hexagon, all the angles add up to a specific number. If you don't have that number memorized, which I don't either, there's an equation to figure out what the sum of the interior angles is, n minus 2 times 180. Number of sides, 6 sides minus 2 times 180. 4 times 180 is 720 degrees. So all the angles in a hexagon add up to 720 degrees. And then we can do 720 minus all these numbers, minus 90, minus 60, minus 160, minus 80, minus 160, and that will give us the missing angle. So you subtract all this and it comes out to 170 degrees is a missing angle. That's your answer. And 36. Okay, on this shape, it wants to know the perimeter of the room that's shaded. So we need to find the perimeter of the shaded part. Perimeter is like the distance around. It shows us that this part is 10 feet. So we need to find all the other segments. Let's see, if this is 15, then this is 15. For this part, I'm going to do 40 minus 28, which is 12 for this. And then the bottom would be the same because it's a rectangle. And then over here, 15 plus 10, 25. So then I add up all those values. And it comes to 74 feet. Number 37, the measure of ACB is 45 degrees. What is the area of the sector of ACB rounded to the nearest tenth? So for area of a sector, it is degrees over 360, so part over whole equals area of the sector over area of the whole circle. So part over whole equals part over whole. For area of a circle, we have to solve for that. So over here, area of a circle is pi r squared. The radius it shows 749. Pi is 153.94. And that will go here in the equation. 45 over 360 equals x, area of the sector over 153.94. Then to solve, use cross multiplication. 360x equals 6927.21. Divide both sides by 360, and x equals 19.24. 38? Almost. Okay. 38, which three-dimensional shape formed by the net below? This would make a rectangular prism. Out of their answer choices, not a cube, not a pyramid, prism, not a cylinder. 39. This one is a bit of a puzzle, kind of putting it all together. So I'm going to piece it together one at a time. Okay, it says figure MNOP is an isosceles trapezoid. So this part over here, isosceles trapezoid, that means that these two sides are the same length. And it also means that your base angles are the same. So this angle is the same as this, and this angle is the same as this. That will come in be important in a second. It also says that the larger figure is a parallelogram. So with a parallelogram, opposite angles are equal. So like this angle equals this angle, and that we'll need to know that information in a second too. So it tells us that MPR, so MPR right here is 62 degrees, and it wants to know what the angle RMP is. So it wants to know what this angle is. Okay, so one piece at a time, like it said, I'm piecing together a puzzle. These are a linear pair, so I can do 180 minus 62 to get 118 degrees for this angle right here. And then because the base angles of this trapezoid are the same, this would also be 118 degrees. And then in a trapezoid, the consecutive angles are supplementary. So to find this angle, I can do 180 minus 118, which equals 62. So this angle is 62 degrees right here. I'm trying to get this one, so I'm getting closer. And then the last piece of information I need to know is that parallelograms, the opposite angles are equal. So this is 118, and so is this whole thing would be 118. So I can do 118 minus 62. That comes out to 56 degrees, and that is this angle right here. So this angle, 56 degrees. So if you get something like that, just start filling in as many angles as you know, and eventually you'll be able to figure out that missing, whatever they're asking for. Okay, number 40. What is the value of x for the triangle below? So we see a 90-degree angle, a 45-degree angle. This would also be 45 because those angles add up to 180. And so that means we have a special right triangle. So we can take the side length and multiply by square root of 2. So to get this, it would be, multiply by square root of 2. So 12 square root of 2 is that length. Okay, thank you. Next, 2 more. We're going to 42 and then we're done. Okay, this one here, 41. It says that this line is parallel to this one. What happens then is this is proportional to this segment in the same ratio that this is proportional to this. So to find x, we're going to set up a proportion and then solve using cross multiplication. X equals 3. And 42, a cat is stuck in a tree. Last one we're doing together. Okay, cat is stuck in a tree. Firefighter has a 15-foot ladder, so this ladder is 15 feet. The ladder and the ground form a 62-degree angle. How high above the ground does the ladder touch the tree? So whatever this is what we're trying to figure out. So from this angle, we have the opposite side and the hypotenuse. Using SOHCAHTOA, that would be sine. Sine of 62 equals x over 15. Then multiply this by 15 by 15. 15 sine of 62 equals x, and x equals 13.2. That's all for today. So you have homework on Schoology. I'm going to stop this recording here.